Hey guys, what's going on? Hope everybody's doing good out there today. Thanks for tuning back in, much appreciated. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about reel ratios. And if you guys have seen some of the videos I've done the last week, I've been talking about reels quite a bit. And this is sort of like the final one in the series I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to break a lot of myths, and I'm going to, basically just wade through all the BS that you hear about reel ratios and sort of tell you the straight scoop on it. So looking forward to doing that. So before we get started, just want to remind everybody tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Johnny and I have our weekly live podcast on Fish the Moment Live. So if you guys would like to join us at 7 o'clock tonight on Fish the Moment Live, it's going to be a real good conversation. We're going to talk about the Bassmasters Classic, so hope to see you there. Also, just a weekly reminder, guys, wanted to remind everybody that I'm offering memberships to my channel, Intuitive Angling. And if you guys would like to, help support the channel, this is a great way to do it. Members, they get stuff like additional videos every week, commercial free, that aren't seen by the public, access to my personal email address for your own personal fishing questions. So a lot of different options there, but it's a great way to support the channel if you guys would like to do that. Okay, let's talk about this whole reel ratio deal. Reels have come a long way since I started fishing. Back when I started fishing, in the 70s, really, the main reels that I used were the old Mitchell 300s and the Mitchell 308 spinning reels. And I finally upgraded to that old Ambassador 5000 that had the little tiny handles on it. It was probably like a 4-to-1 retrieve ratio. It was super slow, but that's about all you had now. So Real technology has come a tremendous distance, just over the past 20-25 years. But what's happened is you've seen a resurgence really in the last 5 years about these reel companies. It's just absolutely ridiculous. They're getting out of hand with all these variety of speed ratios on it. I remember back in 1988, when Rick Clunn won the Alabama Invitational, Bassmaster Alabama Invitational on Gunnersville. He had one of the prototype 7-to-1 retrieved Iowa baitcasting reels. And when somebody heard the term 7-to-1, that was just like out of the world. Nobody ever thought, there'd be a 7-to-1 baitcast reel. I think the standard was 4-to-1 and 5-to-1. That was about it everybody used. So that was the initial, surgence of the high-speed reels. And even that reel, it never really caught on. It was seen more as a niche reel, as far as in places where you're fishing like a rattle trap, or some places, type of lures that you really needed a fast retrieve on. But for the most part, anglers stayed with those lower speed retrieve reels, for decades after that. But what you've seen, what are you doing there? You say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Okay. So let me finish the video. So anyway, the reason I wanted to do this video is I see a lot of companies that have come out specifically the last couple of years with these 8.1 retrieve reels, 9.1, and I think there's even a 10-to-1 retrieve ratio. Guys, I'm telling you right now, you don't need it. You do. It's like, that's the most. I'm not saying that there's not situations to have that particular speed ratio, but you simply do not need that. It's just, in my opinion, it's a waste of money. If you've got unlimited funds out there and you can have a 5-to-1, a 6-to-1, a 7-to-1, 8-to-1, 9-to-1, 10-to-1 gear ratio, then that's one thing. But for the average dude out there that is on a budget with your buying fishing tackle, you don't need that, man. You do not need it. And the thing that I want to talk about here is what I want to stress about. In my opinion, the only reel that you need one reel ratio for everything. That's what I have. Every reel that I have is a 7-to-1. 7-to-1 is, in my opinion, the best reel ratio that you can have. It's the most versatile. You can do a ton with it. You hear guys saying, they still deep crank with a 5-to-1, or they slow roll spinnerbait with a 6-to-1, or they flip with a 9-to-1 to take up more, line on between pitches. I just don't think you need that. I think that's overkill, and I think I think what that does is, the more companies come out with those options, I think a lot of times they're just taking advantage of the consumers when you really do not need that. A 7-to-1 retrieve ratio will allow you to do everything. I deep crank with it. I throw big swim baits on it. I throw all my crankbaits on it. I do all my flipping with it. I throw all my top waters on it. The thing that I like about using the 7-to-1 ratio for every single one of my reels is, this mosquito here, is I have an understanding and I get a feel for what that reel will do under certain situations. So I don't have, if I pick a, say if I've got 3 or 4 different ratio reels, every time I pick that up, there's a different feel behind it. So in my opinion, what I do, I simply just change my speed of retrieve to adapt to the bait that I'm throwing. And, you know, people talk about, well, you know, you need more torque on a deep diving crankbait or something like that. I don't have any problem. I can throw a DD22 or a big deep diving crankbait all day long on a 7-to-1 retrieve ratio reel. I don't have to have a 5-to-3 or 6-to-1 like that. And like I said, I don't have to have a 9-to-1, you know, speed ratio if I want to flip a jig in a bush. 7-to-1 is plenty good. So really the point of this video that I wanted to make you guys is, like a lot of stuff out there, don't get sucked into the hype. Don't get sucked into the promotion around some of this stuff. I think a lot of it is unnecessary. You know, bass fishing is a market. I mean, they create product to keep interest going, to basically sell products. It's the same with electronics. It's the same with reels. It's the same with a lot of different stuff out there. You know, I think a lot of consumers are pretty wise to it, but, you know, I think reels are one of those categories that a lot of people don't really, they tend to just go by what they read, as far as they hear a pro saying, well, I use a 9 or 10-to-1, or you hear some deep cranking expert saying I use the 5-to-1. Just don't believe it, guys. You guys can do fine, and you can get by with every one of your reel needs with the 7-to-1. It's the most versatile reel out there. It'll handle all your needs. And like I said, you know, if you got unlimited funds to buy that type of stuff and you want to mess with, you know, having a different feel every time you pick a different one up, that's fine. But for me, I'm just telling which I got. I've been, like I said, I've been doing this full time for 35 years. Fish close to 200 days a year. Every single one of my reels is a 7-to-1. And it's not that I haven't experimented with the other stuff. I just have settled in on this because it works best for me. And also, it simplifies it. And I think a lot of times there's a lot to be said for simplifying your fishing, because you don't want to overthink it. You don't want to get too complicated. And to me, having to decide between a 5-to-1, a 6-to-1, a 9-to-1, and all that type of stuff, it just adds unnecessary, you know, mental clatter in your mind. So that's my advice for everybody. Don't listen to, you know, a lot of the BS you hear out there about reel ratios. Get you, you know, some 7-to-1s. You'll be good to go on that. So anyway, that's the tip for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like that, man, please hit that subscribe button and like it. Much appreciated. We'll see y'all later.